So last month I quit my retail and sales job, and while I was employed, at least for the last 18 months or so, I was stressed out. I was stressed about getting yelled at by customers, about working 10 hours by myself, about the scary, creepy men who would come in after hours, usually around 6 p.m. when it got dark, and refuse to leave until another customer came in and scared them away. That was my original video. I'll card it up here. But the fact of the matter is I was stressed. I've always been a high stress person, so part of this wasn't new. But what tipped me off that something was really wrong was that on the weekends, which were just the 2 days off I got, because if you work in sales and retail, Saturday, Sunday is not usually the days you have off. I was happy, I was smiling, I was significantly less stressed, and it basically was a point where I realized something was wrong and needed to change, or this job was going to break me. When I quit my job, I did not have something else lined up to just replace it. Yes, I freelance, but my whole playlist of freelance monthly income, which is over on my channel, barely constitutes a part-time income for most individuals, including myself, but I also knew that it was still something coming in to give me some time just to breathe and reset myself before I dived into something else. But the entire time, there was about 18 months leading up to when I finally sent in my resignation letter. I did not give it 2 weeks notice either. I sent in a letter at night saying I would not be in the next day because I was officially gone and done. And the thought of doing that stressed me out more than actually submitting it, because once I submitted it, once I got confirmation from the HR department via email, hey, go ahead, like, just do these XYZ final formalities, I was not stressed. And I thought, surely, in this climate that we are experiencing right now, essentially a recession, I would be more stressed, I'd be more scared. But I wasn't. And it made me sit down and just work through everything to figure out what I have done to set myself up so that this was not so stressful, because honestly, a year ago, I don't think I would have had the gall to just quit overnight like I did. So I just kind of want to talk through some things and kind of break down why I was able to quit my job with just an unsteady part-time income, and why it's not stressing me out more than being at that full-time job. So the first topic that I'm going to bring up is housing. And I know this can be really touchy for some people. I am married, but we have no kids, so we have a lot more freedom to live in circumstances that families probably wouldn't. But we live in a tiny house, and I say that because our house is 400 square feet, or 37 square meters. So if you have children, this is probably not ideal. I get told stories all the time about how my grandmother raised 4 or 5 kids, I forget the number, in a 17-foot Airstream trailer back in the 60s before they got their first rental house. So it is doable, but definitely not something parents nowadays would like to do. And again, the land situation, my mother had bought her house about 8 months before I bought this tiny house, and she happened to buy land with just enough acreage that I could just kind of slide my house in on. So I am in a situation where I have a 3-digit mortgage payment, and I just split utilities with her, and so the utilities are even further diminished despite even being in a tiny house. And it's basically, I had bought this house a few years before I met my husband, and I went in with the intention of, I need something livable that is not necessarily an investment, because everyone told me it's on wheels, it's essentially an RV, this and that. No, I did not buy this like with some investment in mind of appreciation. I bought this because it was affordable. It was a 10-year mortgage that was still in the 3 digits, and of course there's no penalty to pay it off early, so whenever I got a nice chunk of change, I could just pay it off early and not have to pay any additional fees. And yes, most people can't live in 400 square feet. Even I've met many single individuals who refuse to live in that small of a space. But at the end of the day, it has allowed us to have a mortgage that is not looming over our heads. So a month that's really slow for me in terms of my editorial work, yeah, it might be 25-35% of our monthly income, but I'm also on a essentially part-time income. Occasionally it goes up more to full-time, but again, it's freelance, it's hit or miss every month. I don't offer services that companies are looking for. I offer copy editing, beta reading, manuscript evaluations, things like that. So it's not something that I can just like set up contracts, hey, come see me every month. I don't do that. But that is probably the first thing that really made me realize, that was redundant, that made me realize it's okay for me to not have a job for a month or two, just to let myself find a new equilibrium, and I don't have to worry about losing my house, which is really nice, because I don't know what I would do with a house that's 2,000 plus square feet, regardless, honestly. If you are new here, you may or may not have seen some of my other videos or my posts where I talk about I've started getting into gardening, and so that is definitely something that I'm kind of leading into, which is minimal groceries, starting the garden, having as much of our food as we can just come off of the land we already live on. I have an herb collection going. We have planted seeds. Right now it looks like the only things we're going to get are green beans and peas. I don't know what's wrong with the peppers, they're not coming up at all. And then as far as the minimal groceries, we shop at Aldi, which I believe is nationwide in the United States. But it's actually that small model where I basically go into the store and I buy what they have. I'm not tempted by any trendy items. I'm not tempted to like look into like a clothing section or an outdoor section or anything like that. And I know that I'm also helping contribute to a slightly more local economy than somebody like Walmart or Kroger, which is still essentially conglomerates. And so that kind of helps me ethically, but also financially. And it ensures that we're buying exactly what we need. And then the garden is going to help me focus on what I can provide for us. And just learning, honestly, basic life skills it's so crazy that in a single generation, with the advancement of technology, because manufacturing came 100 years ago, but something about technology and just the ease of getting materials and products, we have lost just gardening, sewing, repairing. All of that is so foreign to most individuals under the age of 30. And they are things I am now learning. And my mother's very happy to show me, especially the sewing stuff. And I want to continue that and, you know, try to shop at more thrift stores that aren't overpriced. So again, local thrift stores that are actually priced like a thrift store. And then like some of it, this isn't minimalism either, because we have a growing DVD collection that we paid about $1 to $2 per DVD. But that also comes down to the whole streaming services where you don't own anything. And so we're kind of stepping away from that as well. So the only streaming I honestly pay for is YouTube Premium, because I'm obsessed with YouTube. That's why my account is, I don't even know how old it is. I think it's 13 years old. No, it's older than that. I don't know. It's an old account, okay? But I have not been posting videos that long. I think there was like a 15-year hiatus where I started posting and then stopped and then started again. But the idea of just buying exactly what we need and then buying used whenever we can, but like quality used, so tools and things like that, is something that has kind of helped me realize I don't need these monthly fees if I have a copy of something in my hand. Or if I'm hungry, I can actually go out and like pick some vegetables or something. No, it's not going to like feed us entirely, but it's good to know that that could be an option in like 3 to 5 years. For these next 2 points, I'm just going to go ahead and combine them, because one is just very obvious, which is don't carry debt. We have our mortgage and some credit card debt, which is what we carry monthly to monthly so that they see that we're using them. Otherwise, we don't have debt. Cars are paid off. We just don't have, like, we put everything on credit cards because we have the money in the bank, which is something that, again, there's a lot of people that don't understand that, and that's not even an age thing. That's just financial literacy that is just not taught in this country, unfortunately. So, but not carrying debt is, I think, another reason why I'm not so stressed about not having a more stable income for myself right now. And the next one that I went ahead and lumped in with it is creating businesses with low upfront costs. So I mentioned I do freelance. I got started on Fiverr, which is free to join, and I pay them 20% of what I bring in, but 99% of my income comes off Fiverr. So it doesn't matter that they're taking 20%, because otherwise I would not have anywhere near that amount. And it didn't cost me anything to start. I am making money immediately. I'm not going through that 2-year period where you don't see a profit. I have seen a profit since my first year of freelancing. And yes, if I went ahead and expanded into an agency or things like that, yes, the cost would go up. But right now, I don't see a reason for that, because I still have not seen a lot of individuals find me on social medias or here on YouTube. And so that is something I'm going to be looking into, especially right now with the additional time I have, so that I can hopefully have this ball rolling a little bit more off of Fiverr and platforms like it. But I think that a lot of people are focusing on the wrong, I don't like the word side hustle, because I feel like, again, that aided in a lot of my unnecessary stress. Because I enjoy what I do. My degree is in creative writing. I love doing it. But I also think that a lot of individuals go into businesses thinking that the more money you throw at it in the beginning, the more it repays you. But it's the same with my books that I self-publish, which is, it's niche, it's poetry. So I've made back the money on my debut, but not on the others. And for some of them, I know that I'm going to make money back and just see nothing but profit, but it's also a poetry book, so not a whole lot went into each one. If you put all the costs of all 4 of my poetry books together, we're still well under $1,000. Because I don't have to pay editors. I usually have a couple of critique partners who catch any small things. I am a copy editor. I catch all of the grammar stuff. And then the cover is usually something I have made in Canva. So and yes, I do view my writing as a business, because I do hope to one day be a full-time writer, but it's also a thing of, once I delve back into fiction and publishing fiction, it is going to cost more money, just a lot, honestly, because of the cover. I'm going to want a more professional looking cover, because poetry is minimalistic, everything else is not, basically. And then I need to hire actual, at least copy editor or proofreader, and that's going to be not 12,000 words, that'll be like 60 or 70,000. So it will be necessary. But I think finding a business that you enjoy, that does not cost you so much money up front, is what you should be looking into if you want to eventually break free of it. And I have been freelancing now for almost 3 years. So it's not like I started it and then quit and then did it, because quite honestly, I did not see decent money flowing in until about 6 months into my freelancing. And then I did not see a 4-figure month, I think, until month 10 or something. And so I am all about sustainability. I do not believe in going from 0 to 10,000 a month in 2 months, because to me that's like, weight loss or muscle gain. Like, the faster you do it, the sooner you just go back to exactly where you were. It's like, I know that business is not like a metabolism, but I do believe that the faster something happens, especially when you're unexperienced in regards of how to handle it, you're not going to be able to sustain that. So I have now been unemployed not quite a month. I've gotten quite a few things done, because I did want to focus on myself and my health, but I've gotten my garden started. We have a lot of sprouts. I have some Cherokee yellow wax green beans, and I have, I think, 10 or 12 of those, and most of them are about 8 inches tall now, so I'm really excited for those. We are working on a house situation, because I would love to pay that off sooner rather than later, obviously. So we're working on plan of attack, essentially, on how we can pay that off earlier. And then just focusing on my business. And it doesn't stress me out to talk about this or to think about it. Like, I'm not stressed when I think about our financial situation, and I think it's because, number one, I'm actually listening to my body and its stress responses for the first time ever, but also because I'm setting myself up for success and have been doing so for about the last 3 years, even if I didn't know this was the point in time I would get to. Because I knew I always wanted to quit that job. I just didn't know if it would be full-time editing, full-time writing, if it would be something completely different. But I am just content right now. And I'm really enjoying that, like, not being stressed. But let me know in the comments below, like, if you're kind of on track to do any of this, because I feel like this is a very millennial move where we're trying to, like, start doing our own things and, you know, live how people lived like 100 years ago, 50, 80 years ago, because we're realizing, oh, this technology probably swooped in too fast and now we're overwhelmed by everything. Because that is something to be said. The slower living, it's so much better for your body, like mental stress, everything. It's so much better. And of course, we're, you know, like I said, essentially going into a recession if we're not already in one. So I just love that we're already setting ourselves up so that we don't have to make any big lifestyle changes, and we're not worried about, like, losing anything. So I hope you guys are all having a wonderful day, and thank you for joining me. And the next video will probably be another writing vlog, because I need to get stuff done. Have a great one, and I will see you next time. Bye.